It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
What is up, heroes of Dominion? My name is Charlie. This is Hero Wars Central, and in today's video, we're going to build a team that's going to counter Corvus and Morgan. And before we get too far into this, this is a Hero Wars mobile video. That's point one. And point two is, since I don't have any of these leveled up, and I definitely don't have Corvus and Morgan leveled up, I could be completely wrong. I'm just completely theory crafting based on, chatting with people on my Discord, having some lively debates about skills and why they're so overpowered and all of that. But I think we've got some fun ideas. I think we've got some really fun ideas built. So with the previous video that I did yesterday, heroes to counter Corvus and Morgan, I talked about a couple of heroes, and one in particular I want to showcase, not Thea. That was a mistake. One in particular I want to talk about in today's video, and that is the hero Ju. Now, the cool thing about Ju is he's a single target damage dealer. He has his own armor penetration, and he has a little bit of crit, and he is kind of unkillable at times. He can be killed. I mean, he's not invulnerable, but he's strong. He's a strong single target damage dealer. And what he has at max, of course, this is max numbers, he has natively more armor penetration than Corvus has armor. So until Corvus gets an armor buff from an artifact, from his artifact weapon or from somebody else's, Ju is doing pure straight damage to Corvus's health total. And on top of that, we have Ju's green ability, which does a percentage of that damage as pure damage on top of that. So we have massive single target damage front loaded right into that enemy Corvus. Probably the best single target damage dealer, physical single target damage dealer in the game. Probably a lot of debates about that, but I think Ju is a strong candidate for the key to defeating this Corvus and Morgan team. Now, of the tanks, because we'll talk about the tanks next, we already know that Morgan destroys Astaroth. And, Luther's a lot of fun. There's a lot of really fun tanks in here. You could go tankless with just going with Ju, and I thought about that. But what I want to do, I want to use Chava. Just because Christmas tree skin is awesome, I want to use Chava. And Chava for a couple of reasons. Chava's got high health. He only has one ability that affects multi-targets. He will swallow the enemy tank, in this case Corvus, taking Corvus out of the fight for 4 seconds, which isn't a long time, but 1 to 2 hits by Ju on the enemy's second in line is a lot of damage. A lot. That's a lot of damage. So just for fun, I like Chava. You could probably go with Aurora, and you could probably go with a lot of other tanks. You could probably even go tankless if you're feeling froggy about it. But I like Chava because that he doesn't really attack multiple targets that often, and he can completely take Corvus out of the fight. Curious if that will stop the totem from firing. I doubt it, but we all know about that damage that the totem does the more hits you do. And that's why we focus on single target with this team. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is countering Morgan. Now, looking at Morgan's stats, we can see that between Morgan and the other heroes that you might see with Morgan, such as Faceless or Phobos, because that's, those are the two undead mages that were added or they got the undead tag, I should say. Of those two heroes, of those three heroes, Morgan has the highest intelligence, has higher intelligence than Thea, has higher intelligence than Dorian, than Martha. Celeste does have higher intelligence than Morgan does, but I'm not sure of any teams that are going to run Celeste. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. It really just depends on what kind of hybrid setups that we find. But I think for a long time, you're going to see a lot of teams using like a Kira Phobos setup or a Kira Phobos Faceless or a Kira Faceless setup, but often you're not going to have a higher intelligence hero than Morgan. And who crushes high intelligence heroes? Cornelius. And Cornelius doesn't do any area of effect. He does a nice couple of debuffs. He protects your team from magic damage, which doesn't block your team from, getting damage from the totem because that's pure damage, but he doesn't have any area of effect attacks like a lot of other mages do. And I think Cornelius is the best mage to counter the Corvus and Morgan setups that you're going to see the most to start out. As people kind of experiment a little bit more, we'll start to see a little bit more ideas, a little bit more options. And I also like Nebula. Not that Cornelius really needs the additional, damage on his one-hit kill attack, but I like that Nebula will do a little bit of healing, a little bit of debuff resistance, and she doesn't really attack the enemy team at all. But what she does do is she speeds up. she will remove energy with her ultimate, and maybe you save that ultimate ability until when the altar or the totem or whatever isn't active. Now, obviously, you can't do that in arena or grand arena, but if you're in cross server or guild wars, absolutely save Nebula's ultimate until that totem is not active, and you get the best bang for your buck from Nebula. And I really like that idea. The idea that you're using, Cornelius to crush Morgan and Jew to crush Corvus on the front, and then you have a support hero here that's not doing any damage to the enemy. And then finally in the back, I think that since we're using Jew and we're trying to slow down maybe a little bit of the casting from Morgan, maybe we're trying to silence a couple of the Phobos's front line attacks that he does. Maybe you're trying to silence Phobos from doing, Faceless from doing his uppercut or his chain lightning attack. So Thea could be good. Thea speeding up Jew. Thea with is good with heals, really fast heals, and Corvus Morgan teams seem to be a really fast attacking team. I think this is it. I think this might be the best team to counter Corvus and Morgan. Now, obviously, again, I have no idea. This is just me reading through skills and kind of coming up with ideas on different heroes that you might use to get access to them. Now, unfortunately, a lot of you aren't going to have all of these heroes leveled up. There are a couple here that maybe you should. Nebula and Thea are often found in the top 15. Cornelius, as a rule, should always be leveled up once you have the options to spend resources on him because of how quickly he takes out Celeste and certain Lars Krista variants, or I should say how fast he takes out Lars and some of the Lars Krista variants. But yeah, this is just a fun idea. It might work, it might not. We'll see as time goes on and people playtest the fights a little bit more. Maybe some high-end players can try this out against some of the more popular Corvus Morgan teams that have popped up. We'll know as time goes on. Maybe we'll get a Corvus Morgan counter as a next hero here in 3 months. Who knows? Who knows what we're gonna do? But with all that being said, I'm gonna end the video here. I try this team out. It could be a lot of fun. It wouldn't be that hard to do either. I love you all. Good luck in Dominion.